Welcome to the Happier Life Project, the official podcast from the award-winning mental health and wellness app, My Possible Self, hosted by broadcaster and journalist Gabby Sanderson.
Hi, welcome to today's bonus episode of the Happier Life Project. Today we're sharing some extra content from my conversation with Nahid de Belgeonne, author of the Happier Life Project's October book of the month, Soothe, the book your nervous system has been longing for. Now, this book, Soothe, was the main focus of Tuesday's full-length episode. So if you haven't listened yet, I highly recommend you going back and giving it a play. Your nervous system will thank you for it. Nahid, aka the Nervous System Whisperer, is a somatic movement coach, breath and yoga teacher, and a nervous system strategist for high-achieving women. And fellas, don't worry, we're not leaving you out. Everything we talk about in the main episode and in today's bonus applies to you as well. So in the main episode, Nahid and I discuss the importance of micro rests to counterbalance micro stress, why she believes it's better to move your emotions through you rather than to sit in them, and so much more. In the bonus, we're looking at connection, how self-image impacts our well-being, and some simple shifts we can make to be kinder to ourselves. And of course, I could not let Nahid go without doing the Happier Life Project's signature sign-off. So, let's pick up where we left off. When it comes to connection, I know this is very, very important. You say connecting to yourself first and then connecting to others and connecting to nature and the environment. But I think about how so many people are so lonely. Maybe they have people around them and they just feel that disconnect because they're not connected to themselves. Or maybe it is because they work remotely, they live on their own. What would you say to people that are kind of feeling like very lonely? Because we know from speaking to other guests on the podcast and doctors, NHS doctors, people are coming in presenting with these symptoms, and then you get talking to them, and actually at the core of it is because they're so lonely.
Yeah. Well, I say to most people who are really lonely and they're living in cities by themselves is go and volunteer. Go to the warm people who roll up their sleeves and do things, because they're a great bunch to hang out with. And you're doing something for other people, so it makes you feel good and it makes other people feel good. It's just a great way to meet people. I often do that if I'm somewhere, and I don't know anybody and I'm on my own.
Yeah.
I moved to the sea from London about 4 years ago. And didn't know anybody here at all, and moved here with my husband, who was the only person I knew. But it's kind of getting involved and putting yourself out there. It doesn't have to be about going out drinking with people, but there's things like beach cleans here or other volunteering that you can do. It's just such a nice thing to do. There's book clubs. Make an effort, because actually connecting with other people is really important. I work from home and I make myself have an in-person conversation with other people, other sentient beings other than my dogs and my husband. Do you know what I mean? So you don't suddenly start getting smaller and smaller. And even that, talking in a coffee shop to somebody or having, those side of the mouth conversations that don't mean anything gets to really strengthen your kind of connection muscles. So just do it. It's not that scary. There's also things like Borrow My Doggy, where you can borrow someone's dog and walk it. Anything that you can find to connect with other people, get out walking, just do it. And again, try it. Even the shyest people that I've taught have found a way to kind of go out and do something, and it makes them feel so much better. And of course, you're constantly then practicing, aren't you? We're always in practice, so it might not go right the first time, but the second time it will. So it's kind of constantly practicing that new skill.
True. You wrote in the book that changing your self-image is simpler than you think. So when we're kind of talking about our nervous system and then like our self-image, then what are some of the shifts that we can make to perceive ourselves in a kind of way?
So you could do something for yourself every day. Okay, shall I tell you what I do? Maybe that might help. So I wake up in the morning and I breathe for 20 minutes. In the book, there's a 6-6 breath practice that I recommend. It's not pranayama, it's not controlled breathing. It's just getting your nervous system to oscillate between the go-go part and the no-go part. Yeah. So parasympathetic, sympathetic is what it's usually called, but I call it the go part and the no-go part. You want both, but you want to make sure you're oscillating between them, and that breath practice will do it.
Mm.
And then I'll set my intention for the day. So I always think about something I'm thankful for. This was from Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. I used to journal quite a bit, but I only started it recently, and then it just took a lot of time. So then I fell out of it doing it. But Dr. Rangan Chatterjee had three really good things to write down. First thing is, what are you grateful for? The second one was, what is the most important thing for you to do today? And it's not necessarily a to-do list, but it's things like, his was when his children come home from school to kind of stop work and listen to them intently. Mine was to have lunch with my husband every day because we both work from home. Why not make that time? And then the third thing is, what is the most important quality you want to put out in the world today? Isn't that lovely? So it doesn't take very long. Then I might do some movement. I'll go outside in my garden, do some movement. And then, on I get to work, working in this intermittent resting way.
I love that.
And then I really mark my time between working and not working. So at the end of my working day, I'll take the dogs out for a walk. Because I work from home, everything can really sort of melt into each other. Do you know what I mean? And you could just work forever, couldn't you, with digital, working?
Yeah.
There's never really a start or an end of anything. It just goes on and on and on. So you actually have to mark the start of something and the end of something. I also clean my own house, which is, everyone laughs at me for doing that. I've never had a cleaner, but I really love that. I love that. It really connects me to the process of how I live. The whole house won't be clean at the same time. I do one room at a time, but there's something about movement that helps you process your thoughts. So it can be really simple things, people in countries who don't have a lot, they're so in the moment because that is what they have, and we're so distracted. So it's kind of living really simply and being really present in what you're doing. So if you're talking to somebody, don't be on your phone, be with them. Yeah. And if you're gardening, really be with your gardening, so you're not listening to a podcast as well, because then you miss the birds, and on and on. So just be really fully engaged with what you're doing, and you'll find, there's lots of studies to say that the people who are more content are the ones that are really absorbed in what they do, and they're not task switching, which is exhausting for your brain when you're constantly trying to, multitask between one thing and another. Your brain really craves deep focus. So yeah, all those things, and they're easy, aren't they? And they're all free.
Yeah. Makes all the sense. Well, I have to throw in this question because I know that our listeners will appreciate it. Can we talk quickly about the Jennifer Aniston neuron?
Yes.
What is it? And how does it relate to what we've just been talking about?
So we have just been talking about you unwittingly train your brain to stay the way you are. Yeah, you don't mean to do it, I get that. But the more you repeat those patterns of behavior, of stress or anxiety or whatever, you're just going to be looping around them. The idea is to break that pattern and introduce new things. So the Jennifer Aniston neuron is really interesting because we have been pumped full of so much information about poor Jennifer over the years that I don't really buy magazines a lot anymore. But I still know what she's doing. I don't know why. I know it just kind of gets in sideways, doesn't it? Because it's just given to us so much. So then neuroscientists found that there's a Jennifer Aniston neuron, and it collates all the information that you know about Jennifer Aniston. It's not in the same place in everyone's brain, but there is a space given to your brain for the crap that you take in and bad stuff. So the idea here is, why don't you take in good stuff? I know a client who just said, oh, my guilty secret is a tabloid I won't mention, which is full of gossip and everything. And she's kind of, she's there looking at the sidebar of shame and da, da, da. And I'm just like, but why do you do that? Like 11 at night, and then she wonders why she's so tired all the time. And she just said, it's my release. And I was like, but does it release you? Why don't you instead do some breathing or some rocking or some swinging your arms movement or something, or reading a book, something that's quieter, kinder, gentler, and see what happens instead. And she started sleeping. So it's kind of that thing of stimulating our brains with crap that we don't need to know. And then suddenly, before you know it, you've given real estate space in your head. to someone who isn't paying the rent. Why would you do that?
But when it comes to Jennifer Aniston, it was like those, and you are right, like whether they're true or not, we've been fed the narrative so many times, like childless has been
Never, can't find a man. She's really successful. She's a successful actress. She's very wealthy. She looks great. I mean, she's not doing badly. But
No.
yeah, exactly. The narrative is that she's, poor her, can't keep a man, and she's got no kids. Awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, question what you're being told. And again, it goes back to that thing of we have been programmed to not trust our feelings. So if you can trust your feelings, the sensations you're getting, what are they telling you? Take action on them. You will have a much more empowered, connected, and joyful life.
Which just sounds like the dream.
The dream.
To conclude, enjoy being as opposed to doing. And you've said that we must become human all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically just like what we were literally just talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's only one more thing to do, and that's the Happier Life Project's last 5 in 5. So they're the same quick fire 5 questions that I ask every guest to conclude the episode. Are you ready, Nahid?
I'm ready.
Okay. When and where are you at your happiest?
In my garden studio, because I'm here right now and I've got a massive window looking out in the garden. It's gorgeous.
What's your favorite thing to do that nourishes your mental health?
Swimming in the sea.
What piece of advice do you now know that you wished somebody would have told you earlier that would have made you a happier person?
Never ever talk about your weight.
Oh,
it gives people an open door to criticize, mention. Just don't. If anyone talks about your weight, just ignore it. Just don't talk about it. Move on to something else. Don't give it any attention because it completely sucks off of our life and all the other good things that we're doing. It's just I don't entertain it. I never talk about anybody's weight.
What is the most important one thing that needs to change to make the world a happier place?
I've been thinking about this a lot, Gabby, having spent the whole week with people. Our systems are built on killing people, killing the planet. And I think as long as that is how we make money as a species, subconsciously we have an understanding of that and it hurts our soul. And I think that has to stop because that cruelty then emanates throughout the rest of society, how we treat mothers, how we treat women, how we treat others, that premise of us being able to build our lives in the global north, that stamps on the global south, it's got to stop. That's very toxic. And that underpins everything, I think.
Gosh, yeah. Wow. Okay, last question. What is a simple, actionable first step we can take when it comes to soothing our nervous system that will help us on our journey to building a happier life?
Shake out your emotions. If something happens to you and you're feeling a bit discombobulated, shake it out, move, do something, go for a walk, but move for your emotional state, and you will then find that you are regulating yourself on a much more regular basis so that you don't get to, you don't hit a wall. So just move more, move it out.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much. I encourage everybody listening to get the book, Soothe, the book your nervous system has been longing for. It's out now in all the usual places. For more on you, your website is thehumanmethod.co.uk.
Yes, thehumanmethod.co.uk.
Yeah. And on Instagram as well, you're the Human Method UK.
I am, yes.
We'll put the links in the episode show notes as well.
Great stuff. Thank you.
This has been great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. And I really appreciate your book.
Great. Thank you, Gabby.
Hello friends, it's Gabby back with you. If you are suffering with your mental health, there is a crisis button on the My Possible Self app, which will signpost you to the correct information for immediate expert advice. Those of you who are listening on one of the podcast platforms, the My Possible Self app is completely free to download. You can access all of the content, so you don't need to worry about it costing you anything. If you found this episode helpful, please do subscribe and leave a review and share it with your friends. And to find and follow us on social media, we are most active on Instagram And you can find us at My Possible Self. And I've been at Radio Gabby. Until the next one, do take care. Bye for now.